All right.
I'll take my glasses off after I read your intro. You don't want me memorizing this. I'll probably read somebody else's. Facebook. Hi. Now I know you all at home sit around and come on after the fact, which is cool. And I know some of you even put your clothes on. I've heard. It's fine. Just enjoy what we're doing here at Comic Spot is I want you guys to be at home where you're comfortable and get to know comedians off stage behind their masks. And I came up with that before the pandemic. So shame on you, pandemic. Oh my gosh. I love interviewing people and getting to know them. All this really is, you guys, is as if I sat down at a coffee shop next to Michael Abels and said, "Hey, how are you?" And he says, "Fine. I do comedy." No way. I do. And then we would talk like this. That's all it is. You can do it too. I don't care. Every one of you can do this. Comedians have stories, and I want their stories to get out. And I want you to fall in love with my friends, follow them, support their careers, and watch them as they go through the trajectory of a crazy mashugana life called comedy and other assorted things like musicians, whatever, entertainers, you get it. So just sit there and have fun. We're gonna banter, we're gonna talk, we're gonna chop up his life. He's gonna be tired. I'm gonna be energized because that's what old people do. This is my only life. I would like to tell you that I have one paid sponsor, and that is the Veterans of Comedy. So if you're military veterans to do comedy anywhere in the world, check out theveteransofcomedy.com. And thank you, Will C., Willie Clifton, and Eric Knowles for having my back. I got yours right on back to you. And now, aside from the paid sponsorship stuff, I have the extreme pleasure of you getting to know the person in the other box who I'm not yet ready to introduce because I asked him to give me a braggy introduction. Now, does he look braggy to you? No, he doesn't. But I told him, you got to give me a braggy intro, so I'm going to read it. Here we go. And I could make mistakes. It's possible. In fact, I haven't done one yet without a mistake. So here we go. Buckle up. Okay. Michael Abels. I just lost. This is my mistake every time. Hold on. He says, Michael has recently completed a project for PBS. Do y'all know what that is? Public Broadcasting Station. PBS am I right, Michael?
Thought it was service.
Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry, PBS. Well, at least we know it's not Pabst Blue Ribbon. Michael has recently completed a project for PBS celebrating the life and small town upbringing of Neil Armstrong. Isn't that cool? Y'all know who that is? It was an astronaut. Am I right?
First guy on the moon.
There you are. And another for Fox. He's done another project with PBS, but this one's for Fox. He did one for Fox dealing with the opposite end of humanity with their Las Vegas shooter documentary. Y'all remember that, which brought about Vegas Strong. He also has recently been heard in original cartoons such as Rana and Riv's Wonder Forest, Rana and Riv's Wonder Forest, and has done extensive dubbing work to bring the German cartoon Trudy's Tear to English-speaking audiences. Michael can be heard in many commercials, cartoons, documentaries, explainers, and much, much more. Also, he's very active in Clubhouse, which is where I met him. And he does impersonations and improv rooms. He's been in Clubhouse in comedy, improvisation, and improv room. Let me start the paragraph over. I am very active, he says, on Clubhouse in comedy, impersonation, and improv rooms, and have done several Zoom comedy mics as I prepare to expand further into comedy. I almost made it through this without one error. I got very close for a senior. Thank you so much for coming on, and let's welcome him, Michael Abels. Woo! Hi, Michael.
Hi. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for your time. Where in the world do you live?
I am in Stephenville, Texas, which is 65 miles west of Fort Worth and in the middle of nowhere, just like
No
I
way.
like it.
What's it like living in Texas?
Well, besides the politics, which is completely insane, it's nice. If you can just ignore all that, it's very nice. I was sitting outside earlier, enjoying a glass of scotch and 66 degrees with a light breeze.
Wow,
Absolutely beautiful evening, and we have a lot of those around here. And
nice.
I really love Texas. I
I love a
hate
good
Texas
breeze.
politics.
Texas politics. Oh my
Oh.
gosh. And they got religion there too. That's considered like the Bible Belt.
Mm.
All those popular things to talk about that divide people. So you're doing a lot. And I'm not real smart about understanding what I just read. So I get the comedy part. That's a breeze. But as far as whatever else you do, you told me that you handle something computer as a day job.
Mhm.
I don't even know what you're talking about. So can you, like, for the average person out there that's not any smarter than me, can you tell me in layman's terms what you do for a day job and what you did with PBS and whatever else I just read that I don't remember?
Sure. So let's see. My day job is I'm chief network engineer for a large university. So that just means uh, I'm about letting the computers talk to each other and talk to the internet and giving everybody a good experience. That's my goal is to make sure that goes well. And
Okay.
I've been doing it for a very long time and apparently pretty good at it.
Since when computers first came along?
Ada Lovelace was sitting there just working on that first program, and I walked up and was like, "Hey, at some point we're going to need to network these things, right?" Okay, not quite that far back, but close. Um, actually, I've got over 25 years in with the university, so it's been a while.
Wow.
And I because university work does not pay well, I started doing a radio show back in the 90s on a local radio station, and then
Mhm.
decided that would lead me into voiceover work. And I was wrong. They're very different things. So I spent a lot of time learning voiceover stuff and managed to get a few cartoons and a few explainer videos and a few commercials. And then I did this huge Bible study for this mega church in California that paid really well,
No
like
way.
early on in my voiceover career. And I thought, well, that's it. I'm a voiceover guy. I've got this solved. And then I didn't get another gig for over a year. I decided maybe I didn't have it solved after all. But the jobs started coming more regularly. And then I was contacted by a PBS station, and they liked my voice for a Neil Armstrong documentary, which was just so cool because I've always been a space geek, and it was an honor to do it. I didn't turn down the paycheck. I thought about it, but I didn't. I kept the paycheck. It was nice. But so I did the Neil Armstrong thing, and then I found out that his family members viewed this before anyone else, and
Oh,
they
wow.
liked it, and it took me a couple of days to recover from that news because it was just amazing.
That
And
is
then I get
such a great opportunity. It's
it
such a
was
great accomplishment.
yes, it was
Congratulations.
I'm in a very very small way tied to the story just because I told it, so that's cool. Not really, it's cool. And then the Fox News contacted me about doing this Las Vegas shooter thing. I don't even say the guy's name because it was just so horrific.
Yes.
And so over the course of a really short period of time, I did both ends of humanity. The best we have to offer and the worst we have to offer, all right there together. So that was an experience. Um,
Wow.
And I am very fortunate that my now 10-year-old son, my youngest, really loves voiceover work. So he's done a great deal of this, and some of the cartoons we work on together, and so that's amazing. We sit in here in the studio for hours at a time, and when the door closes, we are actors, and when the door opens, it's father and son. So in here, we get to yell at each other. It's cool.
Oh,
Uh,
what a great you're a great dad.
oh, thanks.
That is
It's fun.
super.
And so last summer, I'm going to brag about him for a second
Go right ahead.
because last summer he did this huge voiceover. It was more words than War and Peace. He was 9 years old at the time, and he did it for English as a second language courses for China. And so he made over the course of those 3 months that he did that recording, he made more per month than I do. And that's counting my day job as chief network engineer for a large university. So he killed it. Um, and it was very daunting. It was incredibly difficult, but he just worked through it and worked through it, and he got the work done, and they were happy with it, and he got paid well, and then he gave his money away to kids that are food insecure, and then he wound up on Good Morning America.
What?
So that was awesome. So
Oh
um,
my gosh.
I feel very fortunate that my son has that kind of attitude. So,
What a sweetheart. Do you have a link to that Good Morning America story that I can share it?
oh, absolutely. I will pull that up shortly and send it
That
along.
is so wonderful. What a great child you have.
Yeah,
And he's 10 now?
he's 10 now, and his favorite baseball player is, we're here in Texas. We like the Texas Rangers,
Okay.
and Joey Gallo was recently traded to the Yankees. So that was disappointing for us. But just before he was traded, uh, Paxton got to go call play ball at a Rangers game and have Joey Gallo come out of the dugout and give him a
Oh my
wave and stuff. So it was pretty cool.
whoa.
But I will send you that link.
Yes.
Very proud.
So then your 10-year, let's talk about your 10-year-old son a little bit more since you opened up this Pandora's box.
Sure.
So what he seems very directed, very self-motivated. He must have something in mind he wants to do as an adult. Is it act voiceover?
Yeah, right now he's still at that age where he wants to do everything I do. He wants to be chief network engineer for that university and do voiceovers.
Oh,
That's that's his goal right now. I'm
wow.
encouraging him to stick with the voiceovers and avoid technology, if at all possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what has that been like? All the changes in technology for you.
Well,
They're constant.
they are, but it's not that bad. I think when you're really in it,
Mhm.
because if you have like me, it's a fairly narrow set of things, right? It's a university, so we do some research, we do online education, we do a ton of Netflix, YouTube, Hulu, and a few adult sites because we're a state. We don't limit anything, and so all that happens just like it always has. The technology changes as we go, but it's incremental changes. So you just kind of keep on top of it and move along with the technology, and you're fine. But people that step away from it for a couple of years, they have a lot to catch up on. I've had
Yeah.
several friends step away and come back, and it's been difficult.
Ooh.
So
You
I did that
know,
in the 90s.
did you?
I did. I started work in 1991 here. I left in 93 and joined the Army. And then
Thank you for your service.
you're welcome. In 1998, I was wounded in Bosnia, medevaced out. And then later that year, I was back at work here uh, and built the first network at this university. So it's
Wow.
been a
You
journey.
know, I was in the military
Hmm.
and I'm a woman, so that means that I was in the 70s in Germany. So that translates to when men were in the fields of Vietnam and women, I was in Germany just mostly yodeling in the Alps, doing nothing.
So where were you in Germany?
Hanau. That's Hanau.
Yeah,
It's
Hanau.
yeah.
Yeah, you broke up there for just a second from my side, but yeah, I know the area well because I was in Ilsheim, which is a little bitty post down near Nuremberg. So
Wow,
yeah,
not too far, a few hours, couple hours away.
right.
You're further south and a little bit west, I think.
So Würzburg and those places, Kaiserslautern, and anyway,
Yes,
that area, K Town. K
K-Town.
Town was an hour and a half away.
Oh, I get it. So when I was in the 70s, computers took up this is my apartment. The computer, that's my main living room. The computer took up this whole area. And now computers can be minuscule in size. Yes, for example.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I remember in Germany, and you translated some things from German to English for work. Didn't you say that in your intro?
Uh, well, it's ADR work. So they actually gave me the English script, and all I had to do was make sure that my mouth matched up with theirs. They had been drawn, speaking German, but it's cartoons. It's fine.
So it's like dubbing over.
Right.
Got it. Well, we had a sign in our office in Germany. The computer was one big, like great big huge desk that was a computer. And there was a sign on it that said, Das Machine ist nicht für Finger poking and mitten grabbing, and der Dummkopf keep their hands to themselves and watch the blinking lights.
I have a coworker that says that German is just English sped up and crammed together. So that's what that sounds like. Did you learn? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Did you learn German while you were in Germany?
Well, my parents went through the Holocaust.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
they came out and made it through it, and so they were living there. They're Germans, and they came to America. And my father, when he passed away at 88 years old, came here in his early 30s. When he passed away, he sounded like he got off the boat at Ellis Island yesterday. So yeah, I knew German. It was my first language.
Oh, that's awesome.
What
I
about
have a
you?
coworker my coworker, his father was a sergeant major. He was a warrant officer, and his first language was German. His mom was, they met in Germany, had him as a kid. Anyway,
Yes.
for me, I took the classes, the Army required intro classes, and I put together a saying, and I got it wrong. I guess that the most important thing is I got it wrong. The tenses are wrong. Several things are wrong.
Yes.
But I used it because I got on a train my first weekend there. I decided I was just going to go explore. I get on a train, I go somewhere,
Yes.
and I walk around all day, and then I need to go, so I'm gonna try this out. And I find somebody, and I say, "Ich bin American Soldat. Sprachen Sie bitte langsam. Wo ist der Bahnhof?" So I mean, it's enough for him to put together what I meant.
Yes.
And what he said was 3 blocks down, make a left. That was it. That was all the German I learned. It was all over after that because everybody that I ran into, they spoke English or the person next to them did. So
Yes. I got on a bus. The minute I got to Germany, I got on a bus that said Frankfurt, and it took me downtown to shop. And so I assumed when I was coming back to the air base, Rhine-Main Air Base, I step across the street and catch a bus that said Rhine-Main. So I got on a bus that took me to Rhine-Main Airport. So there I am, having learned German as a child. I took it in high school, as a class.
Mhm.
And I'm saying to the bus driver, "Nine Rhine-Main." That's all I could think of. Oh my gosh. And then you come back home with a Southern accent because you're around soldiers from the South.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. We have a lot in common to talk about with that.
Uh-huh.
So you're thinking about stretching your wings and doing more in comedy than you've done before. So talk to us about what you have done with comedy so far.
So I when we all had a little extra time back in 2020, being on lockdown,
Mhm.
I decided to take some classes and read some books, and because I've always been sort of the class clown, kind of funny, and I wanted to do something with that. And once I started kind of putting it all together, I, a lot of my stuff is military related. So I can kind of see doing something to help and support vets um, with comedy. Uh, when you thanked me for my service, that I actually have a bit about that. That I
Yeah.
used to tell people it was an honor to have served, but that makes them want to talk about it a lot. And so now I just shoot for you betcha. But uh,
That's hilarious.
so there's this whole thing that I'm doing on being a disabled veteran.
Oh yeah, that's
So
cool.
so there's that, and then just being a dad and being a geek, and there's lots there to work with. So I've done a lot of writing. I've only done a little bit of performing. I've always managed to get laughs when I've done performances, so I'm happy so far. I know that at some point I have to bomb really bad, and I haven't quite got there yet, but I think it's because I'm not trying hard enough. Uh, I'm, and this is all a ramp up for me. I guess I was cowardly about it. There are people that are 17 years old saying I'm going to be a comedian, and they just go grind it out, and I have a lot, a lot of respect for them. That's
Totally.
amazing. And
So you were shot when you were in, did you say Bosnia?
I was wounded in Bosnia by avoiding being shot. The process of avoiding it is how I got wounded. So
It wasn't
um,
friendly fire. It
it
was,
was not. It was very unfriendly and intentional.
wow.
But so the first shot from this guy, I hear it go kind of. There's a sound with it breaking the little twigs and stuff as it's going through, sort of up over my head, and I'm in snow up to my waist, and I'm trying to get to cover, and my very first thought was that guy needs better training. And my second thought was that was a stupid thing to think.
You are a comedian.
He
If
missed me
you
by so much.
you thought of that in the moment, you didn't
Yes.
even like, wow. You're
Yeah,
gonna be
I
great with
believe
crowd
myself.
work and improv.
Oh, I hope so. But I'm actually retiring from my day job in about 4.5 years.
Oh,
So that
that'll
that's
open you up for
that's
comedy.
what I'm ramping up to that. That was what I was saying my cowardly approach is.
Yes. So have you, taken courses or gone to writing groups
Mhm.
to sit and I don't know, I belong to a lot of groups where we tell each other jokes and help each other with thinking it through and from a different perspective. Do you do that?
Oh yeah, quite a bit of that. And I feel like I've been more successful in helping other people write jokes. But
Totally.
I think that as long as you get with a group of people that are all that way, then you're fine because you're going to benefit from it as well. It seems so.
Yes.
I've had a great time uh, doing that, and so we have several groups going, and I wrote this podcast, which is a spoof of a true crime podcast because my wife loves true crime stuff. So I decided there needed to be one in a small town in Texas, a not real town in Texas, um, where this guy just follows around the local police force with a recorder, and they deal with their crimes, which are, speeding and mud dogging and illicit alligator wrestling and that sort of thing, rather than the, the really big stuff. So I have a group of writers and voice actors that are all sort of working towards that. So I
No
think
way.
that'll be a good one. I think.
Well, congratulations on that. It sounds
Oh,
like you know
thanks.
how to manage people and get what you want out of them to make it happen.
Well, slowly I do, but that's okay. We actually had one of them has an illness and is taking a little bit of a break, so we're all taking a little bit of a break because we're trying to do this thing together. So, um,
Yes.
but yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far.
So your comedy style, what would you say your comedy style is? Or who have been your biggest influence?
Um, so my Johnny Carson, when I was a kid, Johnny Carson, every night, whether or not it was appropriate for how young I was. I just could not go without it. I would sneak around and just figure out a way to watch that thing that my parents were watching,
Yeah.
and that was huge. But my biggest one from my childhood is probably Foster Brooks,
Wow.
which he's I mean, I can do the drunk voice, and I've been able to do the drunk voice since I was about 7, give or take, because I love
Wow.
Foster Brooks.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and so those old school guys that's it's um I'm told not to call myself a clean comic, but it's sort of what I do. So it's I work really hard to be clever and to be as clean as I can. I'm
Yes.
not squeaky clean, but you know, I ride
Yeah.
that line to the best of my ability.
Yes. Every once in a while, when I do these military comedy shows here on Saturday and Sunday,
Mhm.
and we have to be so clean because we all know that there's no cussing allowed in the military anywhere.
Oh, never. No, I don't remember hearing any at all.
That's not where I learned the words. No. I was a good girl till I got into the military and learned that there were cuss words. And
What?
oh my gosh. And so yeah, um, I enjoy being on a show where I can be dirty. I gotta say, because it gets old being clean all the time. I love it, I get it, and I do it, and and but I do enjoy that time when you get to go off script, so to speak.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
talk, go
I, I
ahead.
I have a person that lives a few miles from me by the name of Ruth Buzzy.
What?
Um, yeah, she lives here in Stephenville, and I see her every once in a while. And I told her recently that I was very upset with her when I was a kid for hitting Muhammad Ali with her purse like that, but I forgave her. So she was another one that I really liked. Yeah.
Wasn't
Anyways, it's
she
cool she's here.
something? She must be up in her 50s by now.
I think she's still 49. Last I checked.
So, what are your goals besides spreading your wings with comedy? What kind of specific goals do you have in your life?
Well, I like to be the best role model I can be for my kids. And you know, with Paxton, my youngest, um, a lot of my goals have sort of shifted to supporting him in these endeavors because he's really funny and he's very good on the mic. And I suspect that he will be bigger and better at both of those things than me, and I am fine with that. I'm all about that.
Nice.
But really, I'm looking forward to uh, retiring with things sort of laid out for the next generation of people. I don't want there to be any problems when I go. My boss has already started telling me he's not going to let me retire, so we're going to have to work on that. And then once I do, um, I hope to travel and do the stuff that people do when they retire. But at the same
Absolutely.
time, I'm taking my mic with me because I want to keep working as I'm doing it. And then
Yeah.
if I can get some mics and open this thing up into the comedy realm, great. That'd be awesome.
So, do you have like a certain goal in mind with your comedy, or a lot more you want to accomplish with voiceover work for yourself, or just whatever happens, happens?
Yeah, I mean, my goal with voiceover is a little more clear. I want to come to this side of the ocean. Right now, I'm massive in Macedonia. They love me in Lithuania, but I don't get work in the United States that much. It turns out there's a lot of middle-aged white guys doing this, and that market's already pretty well saturated. And um, and that's fine, but I feel like I have some character voices that I can do something with if that opportunity comes along. So that is a big goal, is to work on this side of the ocean.
Absolutely.
And then on the comedy side, I want to, uh, I don't know that want to make that the main thing that I do. I really, really enjoy my voice work, but I want to get good enough at it that I can get a mic and go out and be comfortable and make people laugh. And if I can do that, that'd be great.
Yes, absolutely. So, what have you learned I'm back to comedy again. What
Mhm.
have you learned by reading and watching and doing comedy that blew your mind?
It blew my mind that it is as hard as it is, that people work so hard at it to be great. And the ones that work the hardest are the ones that look like they just walk up there and make stuff up and throw it away and it's all fine and then they leave and everybody's
Yeah.
laughing. I mean, that is a skill that even though I've seen it my entire life, I absolutely underestimated it. Writing a joke is super easy.
Yep.
Doing something that'll make somebody giggle, not a problem. I've literally done 125 a day uh,
Wow.
for a month.
Wow.
But making a real joke where you trim the fat and you really polish it up, it is so much work.
It-
I have a lot more respect for comedians than I did a couple of years ago.
Absolutely. I get really angry when people don't respect the craft. A
Mm.
lot of times people in the craft don't respect the craft when other people are doing a mic or a show. And like it's so much, you're married, you have children. There's times when you have to push them away to focus.
Mm.
And imagine if you're a road comic, gone and doing 200 shows, 300, 500 shows a year. And there's so much respect that they deserve for all their commitment for decades. And like by the time they hit it big and become famous, everybody assumes it's overnight. And it's been a labor of love, and maybe a couple marriages got left back there, couple children. I mean, look at Richard Pryor's life.
Mm.
People have to, and Joan Rivers, let's take a woman, for instance. Her daughter Melissa was angry at her for years for making comedy a priority. But
Yeah, it's incredible how much those folks do, and it's daunting really to sit here and think, okay, I'm gonna give this thing a shot. What does it take? Oh my gosh,
yes,
it takes a lot.
you
So
get attracted to it because
Mhm.
it looks, easy, because the good ones make it look easy.
Sure,
And then you find out how hard it is, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm attracted to it, I'm not committed to this.
right. So
Wow.
that's my wait for retirement so that I have flexibility to, and part of it is from where I am here. It's about an hour and a half to the nearest open mic one way. And so that's why I've been doing most everything online, is having a day job and being a voice actor and a dad. Throwing in 3 hours worth of drive time, 2 hours worth of waiting, and 5 minutes worth of speaking. That's hard.
So
That's real hard right
hard.
now.
I've heard that over and over again from people in Texas, that the number of hours that they drive, like I mentioned, other veterans, the Veterans of Comedy is based in Texas. Willie Clifton,
Mhm.
Eric Knowles, Michael Shields, Chris Crawford, the whole gang over there, David G. Scott. They have to travel sometimes 7, 8 hours one way to get to a gig.
Oh yeah.
Crazy. Crazy in Texas. The place is too big. Need to fix that.
No, we love it that way. I If you're down at the, uh, Brownsville, the southern tip of Texas, and you drive from there to Chicago, when you're halfway there, you're still in Texas, and I love that.
Do you?
I do.
Oh my gosh. Well, what would you like to say to people so that they know, is there anything I didn't ask of you that you'd like to say about humanity, making it through a pandemic, making a marriage work, being a good dad? I mean, like any kind of great tips you have for human beings watching this, or if they want to get into voiceover work, if they want to go into computer work that you, the same kind of thing you do, whatever that is.
Well, let's see. If you want to go into voiceover work and you look like this, we're not hiring. Um, but no, there's a lot of work out there for voiceover people. And if you don't have training and you're not really sure about it, it's worth getting a little bit of training and staying out of your head. Because it wasn't that long ago that all the commercial guys sounded kind of the same, and they wanted you to come on down and try this product. And then Krasinski came along and said, "Hey, you should buy this car insurance." And everything just sort of changed to like the guy next door. And I may be giving him too much credit. I'm sure there was a lot of that going around, but that's the one that I key in on, that made everything sort of guy next door. And which means that if you speak, you can probably do something in voiceover. It's just a matter of going out there and finding it. And the more normal person you are, the better off you are. For
Really?
me, I sound like a movie announcer just when I'm talking to people at work about what we do, because it's just that happens to be my voice. And if I'd been born 20 years earlier, that would have been much more lucrative. But now I have to kind of fake that, you know, uh, kind of guy next door thing. That's hard to do. So that's why I'm focused mostly on doing character voices, because that you can just take yourself out of even being human and just plug into something else entirely. And that's easier. Well, for me, for
I
some
would
folks, it's not.
I would think that someone like you would be able to coach comics to use their voice better.
I have.
Have
Uh,
you?
I've done that with a few friends, especially from classes. When you do a character or whatever, there's really important things that you can do with your voice to change it up that I sort of take for granted. The stuff that like everybody knows that. Well, they don't. Not everybody knows that stuff. So I do try to be helpful to the best of my ability.
I
Um,
didn't hear you. It broke.
oh
What'd you
no,
say? What'd you say?
yes. I said I tried to be helpful to the best of my ability and just get them to notice a few little things. Yeah, if you need to drop your voice down and you need to open up a room, you just open everything up back here and really go for it. Or if you need to
Oh, look
shrink
at
it up a
you.
little bit, you just push up everything and you make it really really small. And the smaller you get, the better, the better you can do the really high voices.
Okay.
you
See,
know
I just learned something.
So any of those things where they're trying to and move around, not necessarily do an impersonation, but just sort of like guide the joke based on age or whatever.
Mhm.
One of my favorite tricks is if you need to be a giant, just imagine the room that you're in is very small, and so you're up and your head's sort of down because it doesn't fit into this
Wow.
room, and everything you do is filling this space, and that's
Wow.
cool. I like that. Yeah.
That is so cool. So, do people hit you up all the time to get some voice coaching?
Not that much. There are a few folks that know that I do it and we do, but I don't charge anybody. So I it's kind of a friends group thing, and we just talk about it and move on.
Yeah.
I've actually thought about formalizing it a little bit, and with the success that my son had, I actually started writing a course for kids, um, and we'll see how that goes. So.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I know that the veterans of comedy are accepting different curriculum for classes for the veterans of comedy. So if you come up with a syllabus about voice coaching,
Mhm.
that would be awesome to send to Will C. Willie Clifton Will C on Facebook.
Okay.
That'd be cool. Yeah. So I would just like to make sure that you know that I so appreciate the fact that you're a military veteran. Thank you so much for really serving our country. None of this
Sure.
fake stuff the women did in my day. I didn't even
Oh,
take
that
out
stuff's
the
important.
trash. What?
Mm. That stuff is really important. Every little thing that happens, I think is important. All those jobs have their place. I don't think that there's any throwaway jobs because even when I spent a lot of time in trouble, um, uh, I don't know. I think I was a little too big a fan of Monty Python. There there were several of us that were, and so Bosnia could be incredibly boring, and then super exciting, and then really boring again. And so for a while, there were several, probably 2 or 3 days. There were several of us that everything we said was in the style of Monty Python.
Wow.
And our we had this commander that just hated it. And he finally just started slamming his fists into his desk and screaming, "Enough of the Monty Python!" And we all at the same time went, "Right then." Anyway, so then I wound up on guard duty for months. And that little job was important. That walking the perimeter, that's important. Taking out the trash, that's important. Burning the trash that doesn't need to be seen by other people, that's all important. There's no little jobs.
Well, thank you for coming on and explaining who you are and what you do and what you plan to do. I wish you so much luck with your son. What did you say his name was?
His name is Paxton Abels.
I
He's
was gonna say Paxton, and then I was like, no, don't.
Yeah. I sent you the link, and you can go on YouTube, and you can just search for Paxton Abels GMA, and you'll find him that way. But I sent you the link. Oh, and I will also, after this, I will send you the link of him calling play ball.
Yes,
It
please.
was
And
cool.
will you type in in the Instagram chat where we were talking? Will you type anywhere on social media where people can follow you?
Sure.
And if you are accepting PayPal, Cash App for any special needs or any organization you want money donated to, let us know.
All right. That's awesome. Thank you.
Any other
Um,
advice for people that you have? I might have cut you off and talked around you.
no, that's fine. I just I have a tendency to just ramble a bit. So if
Me too.
so somebody needs to narrow the field a little bit for me. Otherwise,
Perfect.
things are gonna get crazy. So
Well,
no, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for asking me to
I
do this. This is
I
fun.
love it. And you're a veteran, and any Saturday and Sunday at 11 Pacific, please
Mhm.
come and do comedy with the other veterans that come on. And I share the videos with military and veteran places.
Okay.
Like tomorrow at 11, Bobby Rydell is going to be our Bob Hope guest. So we usually have somebody that's not military. Bobby Rydell was in the Army, and he was also he was comedy before he was music. Do you know who Bobby Rydell is?
I recognize the name. It honestly, I'm gonna have to look
So the movie Grease, Rydell High, it's
him up. Mhm.
named after Bobby Rydell, the crooner from the 60s.
Got it. Okay, that's awesome.
You're welcome to come on
Amazing.
and be in the room when he's there. And any Saturday or Sunday, Saturday and as often as you want to come.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And anytime you have something to plug, and wait, there's more. Anytime you have anything you want to plug, would you let me know? And I'll have you on for 5, 10, 15 minutes to plug anything.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Um,
Thank you.
most of what I'm doing now is on Clubhouse. So if anybody out there is not yet on Clubhouse, I highly recommend it. It has replaced almost all social media for me. I rarely am on Facebook. I do get on Instagram to do little updates, but and occasionally Twitter. But most social media for me is Clubhouse.
I've
Pretty
seen you in Clubhouse. I mean, I haven't seen you, but I've been in rooms with you. And so, what are some good rooms that you go to that you recommend if people are interested in a certain topic? What would you recommend?
Oh gosh. Well, there are clubs that don't really compete, but they're different clubs that have things sort of at the same times. And I would encourage people to get on and just look for their interests and go from there.
Perfect.
You cannot go wrong with the Comedy Lounge and the Lit Comedy Club and um, um, oh my gosh, I went blank on Kevin's club, but there's several really good comedy clubs out there. There were some that were doing a lot of stuff early on that have sort of stopped and let the summer pass by, and now they're picking back up again. So I think that this is a good time to get out there and grab onto something that is just now starting up. Um, if you like smaller crowds like I do. And I run rooms informally that are, they always have something to do with scotch. So if you see a room, um, you'll need to follow me. We'll need to friend each other because I make them social rooms. So it's just people that I know. But if you're watching, Michael Abels on Clubhouse, and I'm happy to add you, and then we could have a little conversation because I like little rooms. I like rooms of anywhere from 2 to 20 people. Great. 3, 400. I mean, cool, but I'm gonna go do
Yeah.
a scotch room with 5 friends.
It's good for the ego, but the group dynamics are out of control,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, it's really hard to rein all that in, and you wind up with trolls and stuff, and sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes there are people on there that I don't care if there's 1,000 people, I'm going to go listen to them. But most of the time I try to keep it small. It's just
Got it. So if I haven't followed you on Clubhouse or friended you there, whatever, I'll do that the minute we get off.
perfect.
And I will go and type my thoughts about you and what all you've said. And if you'll send me those 2 video links that you
Mhm.
have and your social media links, I will put that on there. And yeah, and I'll let all my people know. And tell me if I have any typos. Don't hesitate. You
Okay.
already caught me mistyping your name,
Well,
which I do all the time. I almost read one guy, the first guy I had on today, I did his interview. Second guy came on, and I almost read the first guy's bio to the second guy.
uh, well, I don't know if his bio's better. I think I'd be like, no, that's me too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Check out all that great stuff I did. I didn't know. That's cool.
Got
Uh,
so lucky. I said, "So what's it like being from Nebraska?" Like, Nebraska, I'm from Kansas.
it's cold. It's always cold.
Thank you so much for coming and chatting, and I look forward to seeing you on Clubhouse.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.